Hey there, Yankees fans. Today we need to talk about something that has been gnawing at anyone who's been following the team closely this season. It's about the way the organization has handled one of its top young talents and the way our bullpen has been managed lately. There's a lot to unpack here, and it's not flattering. Let's start with Anthony Volpe, a guy who came into the major leagues with enormous expectations, a top 5 prospect not too long ago, a player we all thought could really make a name for himself with the Yankees. And yet, the way things have gone for him this season has been troubling. Volpe suffered shoulder injury back in early May. He felt that pop, a moment no player wants to experience, and ever since, it seems like his performance has been directly affected. Despite this, he has been out on the field almost constantly, expected to deliver like nothing is wrong. The results tell a story of a player struggling to maintain form while dealing with lingering pain. His batting average is down, hovering just above 200, and even though he has power in the bat, 18 or 19 home runs this season, close to 50 extra base hits, his on-base percentage has taken a significant hit. That's not just numbers on paper. That's a reflection of a kid playing through discomfort, through something that likely should have been handled more cautiously. And yet, the organization has largely rolled him out game after game, hoping for the best and expecting him to perform like the shoulder injury doesn't exist. It's almost like they've put the business of baseball ahead of taking care of one of their own, and as fans, it's hard to watch. It's not only about the numbers either. There's a defensive side to this as well. Volpe has struggled in the field, posting a negative rating in outs above average. Some of that could be talent, some could be mechanics, but there's a strong argument that the shoulder has impacted his defensive performance as well. When you take a player who is hyped as a top prospect and then let him push through an injury without proper recovery, you're compromising development, confidence, and possibly career trajectory. Volpe had a remarkable rise in the minors, playing well in AAA, performing in spring training, and earning his spot on the roster. There were high expectations for him to take that next step to become a consistent contributor. Instead, we are left watching him struggle, and it feels like it could have been avoided if the team had handled his injury differently from the start. Now, let's shift to another topic that has frustrated fans all season: the Yankees bullpen. It has been a complete disaster in stretches, and it's not just about one player. It's about organizational decisions and the overall management of relievers. Early in the season, we saw the bullpen falter in dramatic ways, allowing far too many hits, walks, and earned runs in critical games. There were moments where it felt like the pitchers on the mound were fighting not just the opponent, but their own limitations and fatigue, which is a scary combination at any level. The Yankees tried to address it at the trade deadline, bringing in some new arms to stabilize the situation. But only one of those acquisitions actually made a significant impact, while the others either languished in the minors or failed to perform. That kind of patchwork approach isn't enough when you are aiming for a playoff run. Every misstep in relief innings can snowball, and as we've seen, it has led to games getting out of control in record time. Fans can't help but wonder how much better things could have been if the organization had been more proactive in reinforcing this area of the roster, ensuring the bullpen had depth and reliability rather than hoping new signings would miraculously fill the gaps. Returning to Volpe, this entire situation raises a broader question about player management and expectations. Fans had high hopes for him, and rightfully so. He was a homegrown talent with the skills to become a core piece of the team. But injuries are part of the game, and they must be managed wisely. There's a balance between getting a player on the field and protecting his long-term health. In Volpe's case, that balance was clearly mismanaged, leading to an underwhelming season where his stats reflect the physical challenges he has endured. We see flashes of his potential, but the consistency we were hoping for hasn't materialized. And it's not just his batting. Every step in the field seems burdened by what he has been forced to push through physically. One can only imagine the frustration he feels, having the team lean on him while not giving him the proper support to recover fully. This carelessness isn't limited to Volpe alone. Looking at the bigger picture, the way the Yankees have approached injuries across the roster has been questionable. There are veteran players who have continued playing through pain, risking further damage. and younger players who should be nurtured carefully to ensure they develop into the stars they have the potential to become. But the pattern seems clear. The focus is on short-term availability rather than long-term growth. For a team with championship ambitions, that approach is short-sighted. The consequences are visible not just in the stat sheets, but in the morale of the team and the confidence of its young stars. There's a disconnect between what fans expect and what the organization has delivered in terms of player welfare, and that disconnect is frustrating. Watching a top prospect struggle while he is repeatedly put in challenging situations without full support is painful, and it reflects poorly on the team's management structure. And yet, we can't ignore that Volpe has power in his swing. He can hit for extra bases, he has home run potential, and there are moments where he flashes the talent that made him a top prospect in the first place. But power alone doesn't win games consistently, especially when paired with a low on-base percentage and defensive struggles. If Volpe were healthy all season, the numbers would likely be much different. Instead, we are left questioning whether what we see now is truly indicative of his talent or simply the result of an injury-weakened season. That question hangs over every at-bat, every play in the field, and it creates a narrative of what could have been, of wasted potential because of poor injury management. Fans are left frustrated, watching a player who could have been a cornerstone of the franchise falter while the organization fails to protect him in the ways that really matter. And speaking of protection, the bullpen remains a glaring problem. Games that should have been controlled slip away in minutes. Relievers are overused, mismanaged, and at times appear completely unprepared for the challenges they face. The mid-season acquisitions helped in part, but not enough to stabilize a situation that had been neglected for far too long. This pattern of neglect and short-term thinking impacts not only individual players like Volpe, but also the team's overall performance, particularly in high-stakes situations. The playoffs will expose these weaknesses even further, and it's hard to see a path forward without significant adjustments. The combination of a struggling young shortstop playing through injury and a bullpen that cannot be relied upon paints a concerning picture for the Yankees. Fans are left with difficult questions. How much of Volpe's struggles are due to injury versus ability? How much damage has been done to his confidence and development? And how much longer can the bullpen continue to falter before it costs the team crucial games? These are not just statistical concerns. They reflect deeper issues in organizational philosophy, player management, and long-term strategy. The Yankees are a team with talent, but talent alone does not guarantee success when carelessness permeates the roster and injuries are mishandled. Now, let's dive deeper into the ripple effects of all this. When you look at a player like Anthony Volpe, it's not just the individual stats that suffer. It's the overall dynamic of the team, the chemistry, the way confidence spreads or collapses across the roster. A young player battling an injury while being asked to perform every day sends signals to everyone else in the clubhouse. It can create tension, uncertainty, and even hesitation. You see it when relievers are shaky, when veterans like Aaron Judge are forced to play through pain, and when the team as a whole struggles to find rhythm in critical moments. This isn't speculation. It's a logical outcome of mismanaging talent and failing to prioritize health over immediate results. The Yankees are a franchise built on high expectations, a culture of winning, but those values get hollow if the fundamentals, player welfare, smart roster management, proper development, aren't respected. The bullpen, in particular, is a perfect example of this mismatch. It's a unit that should inspire confidence, yet too often it becomes the source of frustration and anxiety. Overuse, poor sequencing, and a lack of depth have all contributed to games slipping away in what should be controlled situations. We've seen it repeatedly. Multiple relievers used in a single inning, high pitch counts, walks piling up, and key runs allowed in moments where the team should have been dominating. The front office tried to patch the issues, yes, bringing in reinforcements at the trade deadline, but the results were inconsistent at best. One player makes a difference, but the others falter. The system was never truly reinforced, leaving gaps that become glaringly obvious in high-pressure situations. For a team chasing the postseason, these weaknesses are dangerous. The playoffs magnify flaws, and without reliable arms, even a lineup full of stars can falter. Meanwhile, Volpe's situation serves as a microcosm of a larger problem. The team has struggled to find a balance between performance and protection. Fans expect top prospects to succeed, and rightly so, but there has to be patience and care involved. Anthony Volpe was a homegrown star, someone with the potential to redefine the infield for the next decade. Yet, the pressure to perform combined with physical limitations has resulted in a season that leaves more questions than answers. Are his struggles the result of talent, injury, or a combination of both? That's not just a statistical puzzle. It's an organizational challenge. How the Yankees handle this now will have long-term consequences, not only for Volpe's career, but for the overall culture of player development within the franchise. Consider the mental toll on a young player. Volpe has shown flashes of brilliance, moments where he reminds everyone why he was ranked so highly, why the expectations were set so high. But repeated exposure while injured can erode confidence, create hesitation at the plate, and foster uncertainty in the field. Every misplay, every weak at-bat, feeds into a narrative that may not be accurate, but that becomes reality in the eyes of fans and media alike. The psychological aspect of baseball is immense, and it's not just about physical health. Allowing a player to struggle through preventable circumstances affects mindset, focus, and long-term development. The Yankees, for all their resources and prestige, have an obligation to protect and nurture talent, especially when it comes to a player of Volpe's caliber. And the troubling part is that this pattern isn't isolated. The handling of the bullpen reflects a similar approach, relying on players to perform despite evident weaknesses or fatigue, hoping that talent alone will carry the day. This has been a recurring theme all season, with relievers failing in key moments, games spiraling out of control, and the team forced to scramble to make adjustments mid-series. The lack of foresight, the reactive rather than proactive management, leaves everyone in a constant state of uncertainty. Fans feel it, players feel it, and it inevitably impacts performance. You can't separate the struggles of Volpe from the struggles of the pitching staff. Both stem from the same organizational choices, the same philosophy of short-term availability over long-term stability. Looking forward, the questions remain pressing. If Volpe can regain full health, there's no doubt that he has the talent to return to his top prospect form. But will he have the confidence and opportunity to do so? Will the Yankees take the necessary steps to ensure he's managed correctly, that he's supported and given space to develop without being rushed back into the lineup prematurely? And will the bullpen finally find the reliability it needs before the postseason? Every decision matters, and the margin for error is slim. The combination of young talent in recovery and inconsistent pitching makes the team vulnerable in ways that could undermine a playoff run. This season has been a test of patience and judgment for the Yankees. Watching top prospects struggle through injuries, seeing relievers falter under pressure, and observing a pattern of carelessness is frustrating for fans, but it also highlights areas that need urgent attention. Anthony Volpe's shoulder issue is just one example of how high expectations and inadequate management can collide, producing results that disappoint not because of lack of talent, but because of mishandling and poor timing. Meanwhile, the bullpen continues to be a weak link, a source of stress and unpredictability. These issues are intertwined. The organization's approach to player health and roster depth directly influences performance on the field, and if not corrected, could have lasting consequences. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the baseball world, the New York Yankees are reportedly closing in on a deal with rising superstar ELLY Cruz. And if the whispers are true, this could be one of the boldest acquisitions in recent MLB history. Sources close to the team suggest the contract could span an astonishing 7 seasons, signaling that the Yankees are ready to commit long-term to one of the game's most electrifying talents. ELLY Cruz, known for his jaw-dropping speed and rare combination of power and agility, would instantly transform the Yankees lineup into what insiders are already calling the fastest offensive juggernaut in Major League Baseball. Analysts and fans alike have speculated about De La Cruz's potential, but pairing him with New York's deep roster could create a nightmare for opposing pitchers, a constant threat on the bases, and a legitimate game-changer at the plate. The rumors have ignited conversations across social media, with fans imagining a Yankees offense capable of turning routine plays into highlight reel moments. Scouts describe De La Cruz as a generational talent, blending raw athleticism with a savvy approach to the game that belies his age. If the deal goes through, the Bombers would not only add a speed demon, but also a player who can influence the outcome of a game with every swing, every sprint, and every stolen base. Critics, of course, are weighing in as well. 7-year contracts are rare and risky, and some pundits question whether the Yankees are gambling too heavily on potential rather than proven MLB dominance. Yet, in a city and franchise that thrives on boldness, taking such a calculated risk fits the Yankees' DNA. As the buzz intensifies, one thing is clear. The mere possibility of De La Cruz donning pinstripes has created a frenzy. From the Bronx to the far corners of the baseball world, fans are holding their breath, speculating about lineups, stolen bases, and the unforgettable moments this pairing could produce. If even half of the rumors are true, the Yankees may have just rewritten the script on speed, power, and excitement in America's pastime. The countdown has begun, and the baseball world waits in suspense. Could this be the start of a new era for the Yankees? Only time and the next official announcement will tell. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.